My name is Megan, and I am an educator at HistoryMiami Museum. Today we're going to be taking a look at another object from our teaching collection.
Start thinking about what this object might be made of, if you see any texture on the object, if there's any variation of color, and if you can make out any of the shapes that you see. If you're thinking that this is a fossil, then you would be right. A fossil is the remains or impression of a prehistoric organism preserved in petrified form or as a mold or cast in rock. In other words, fossils are the remains or traces of plants and animals that lived a long time ago, at least 10,000 years ago. A lot of times, when we hear the word fossil, this is what we think of: dinosaurs. But fossils actually come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. Here are a couple examples. Paleontology is the study of fossils, and a paleontologist is a person who studies those fossils. Sometimes this happens out in the field where these fossils are discovered, and sometimes it happens in a lab. The fossils and some of the rock around the fossils would be transported to a lab so that paleontologists can continue to study what they found. Now that we know this is a fossil, we should start thinking about what kind of fossil it might be. Does this imprint look like anything familiar to you? If you're thinking that this looks like a leaf, you're absolutely right about that. This is actually a fossil of a fern leaf. Our fossil here is just one of those leaves that you see in the fern on the left. There are a couple of different ways that fossils are created. For this fossil, it all began over 10,000 years ago. This small fern leaf probably fell into the mud and was buried. Before long, that leaf disintegrated, but its impression stayed in the mud. Over a very long time, this mud turned to rock that included the impression of the fern leaf.
At HistoryMiami Museum, we have fossils of small ferns like this one, but we also have much larger fossils of mammals that used to live in South Florida 10,000 years ago. Thank you for joining me today for another episode of Inside the Museum. I look forward to seeing you all again soon.